What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here. Welcome from the Grid Term Sports Talk Show. What's going on, Monty? How's it going, brother? Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, good to be back. It's been a minute. Been a minute. Lots to talk
Yeah,
about. A lot of things going on in sports. So yeah, that's what we're here for.
yeah. It's even been a month for me. I mean, I haven't done a show in a month, and then you were out even a couple weeks before that. So I know it's been like 6 or 7 weeks for you.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
a minute.
but just to let everyone know, we still are around. We are. We're doing this show today. But first of all, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Hope everyone had a good Christmas with
Yes,
their family.
yes.
And
Merry Christmas.
and
Yes,
New Year's has come up in a couple of days, so I hope the New Year's brings you some peace and prosperity, good health, all that kind of stuff. So,
yes. Amen. That's right.
amen, brother. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about on today's show, talk about some of the college football playoff games, talk about some of the first round games. A lot of them are blowouts. There's only like maybe one
Ugh.
close game, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
Talk about these there's some really good matchups in these quarterfinal games. I'm expecting these games to be much
Mhm.
better, but there's some big matchups in the quarterfinal games. One is on New Year's Eve, and the other three are on New Year's Day. So there's be some good football
Yes.
on New Year's Day. I like the college football playoff format overall, the 12-2 format. Even though the first round games weren't very good, I still like the format as a whole. It's just unfortunate those games
Mhm.
didn't pan out very well, but I think that's to be expected a little bit in first round matchups. You don't know what you're going to get, and
Yeah.
I definitely expected a couple games to be closer, but we could talk about that. Then we'll get into some NFL. You know, NFL season's coming to a close. The playoffs are almost here. Right now teams are jockeying for position about what seed they're going to get. Some teams are still in the hunt. It's not decided what all teams are in the playoffs yet. So, couple teams are still hanging on by a
Yeah.
thread of their chances of making the playoffs. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and also talk about a little bit of NBA and NFL Christmas Day games. We'll hit that up because me and Monty and I, to say we have some thoughts on that. So that's what we're going to talk about today, people. Let's get into college football playoffs. I only saw one
Yuck.
game. I saw the Tennessee Ohio State game. I was very disappointed in Tennessee.
Ugh.
I really didn't care who won that game. Obviously, my dad's going for Tennessee since they're living there the past several years, but I did. I just wanted to see a good football game, and it sucked. So I was disappointed in Tennessee, man. Very disappointed in Tennessee.
You, you know what? On paper, I thought that was the best matchup of
That's
them
what I
all,
thought.
and they just laid an egg. You know what? Let's just scrap this whole NCAA playoff. It's not working. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'm being I'm being sarcastic here, but they put this format together in hopes of not seeing something like this. But we'll get to it in a minute. I got a whole list of blowouts, even the 4-team format. I mean, we're going to go to 16 teams eventually. I predict in the next 3 or 4 seasons
Yeah.
we're going to see the same thing, and we're going to see some blowouts the next round. I mean, it's just something we can't get away from. We
No,
wanted a
we can't.
playoff. This is what we got. I like it. Um, I was wrong about the matchup. I thought, like I mentioned earlier, I thought this would be the best matchup. But hey, man, it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
in the format, like people, what do you want, man? There's going to be blowouts.
Yeah, you can't be
It's going to happen.
upset. You can't be upset because it's all about matchups, and
Yeah,
it's about teams traveling because, the home team obviously has an advantage, because the lower
yeah,
seed, the lower seed is going to have home field advantage, and that was the cause and effect of all these games. All the home teams played really well. Um,
yeah.
but there will be some years where there will be some big upsets and it'll be exciting. Unfortunately, this
Yes.
first round wasn't like that for the first year of the 12 team format, but I'm not going to go away from a 12 team format just because the
No.
first round game
No.
sucked. The viewership wasn't very good. I think there was like 10.6 million viewers, but there was also NFL games on at the same time, which I didn't like that. And NFL got a lot more views. I don't like the
Yeah.
NFL kind of having games on the day of the of the college football playoffs. That may not have been the best move, but it is what
Right.
it is. 'Cause that definitely took away a lot of views. But yeah, you never know what can happen in any of these games. It's the same thing in March Madness. Sometimes there's some really good games where there's some exciting upsets, and some teams just get blown out
Yeah.
like the way we think they're going to get blown out. You just don't know, man.
No.
And we're never going to completely get away from it.
No.
But,
We're not. There's not going to be 31 to 30 games every time. I mean, it would be nice
no,
to see that, of course, but come on, we got doggone FSMU in the playoffs. Well deserved, by the
they were
way.
well deserved. I'm glad they got in. I thought they would show up a little
But
better. I thought Penn State would win, but I thought it'd be a lot
yeah,
closer.
yeah. I mean, were they going to beat Penn State? No, they weren't going to beat Penn State. But I mean, they earned it. It's based on what you did in the regular season,
And they
and
deserved it. They even
yeah,
though they lost in their championship game, they made a great second half comeback when they were getting blown out in the first half, and that got them in. They fell just short. At the very, very end of the game. I mean, they fought themselves all the way back for the game possibly going into overtime, and then, but Clemson had a big drive, to get. I think they got a game-winning field goal or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, they had a huge run back on a kickoff to give them in field goal range. That's what
Yes,
set it up.
yes, yeah. Those are
So yeah, that punt return, that kick returner got him past midfield. He had a great return. So yeah, that set them up for a
yeah,
game-winning field goal.
yeah.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
that. Sorry, I was just on my soapbox about that, and I like the way it is. We're gonna see this no matter what we do. I mean, there might be some big matches. There matches. There will be some tips. So it
well,
comes with it, guys.
one team did make a good comeback. Clemson did make it a game against Clemson. I mean, Clemson made a good game against Texas. So, excuse me.
Yes, yes,
They were down.
yes.
They made it 31-24 with like 9 or 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But then Texas, like 2 or 3 plays later, and their running back breaks off like a 60-yard run for a touchdown, and that was the final score of the game. 38-24.
Yeah,
But Clemson did make it a game in the fourth quarter, and
yeah.
Indiana kind of came back against Notre Dame. It was 27-17, so on paper that game didn't look
Uh,
that bad. But in all these games, all the home teams were
yeah,
up by 20 points at one point in the game. All of
yeah.
them, 20 points or more.
Notre Dame dominated that game. The score doesn't show what the game really was, but
Exactly. That was not a reflection of the
yeah.
game.
But like I said, it's based on what the teams did in the regular season. Indiana just balled out the regular season, man. We didn't know that they had a team like this. I mean, that coach put the team on the map. He's won everywhere he's been, and I think most of us will be watching Indiana for years to come as long as that coach is there.
I like the coach overall, and no one's perfect. And I think I talked about this last show a month ago. Like, he has put the team on the map. You got to give him a lot of credit. He's got a chip on his shoulder for being overlooked as a D1 college coach. So I understand that, and I think there's a lot more to like than dislike about him. But I think
Yeah,
some of the negative things that I personally see about him is there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think he's a little bit arrogant at times. I don't think he's a good loser. I think he's kind of a poor loser, like a little bit, and I think he's a little bit overly cocky at times. He says some things.
so, so
We'll
would
see
you
what
put him
happens
in
with
that?
him, huh?
Would you put him in that Dan Campbell category?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. I like Dan Campbell. I mean, he
I like
does
Dan
some
Campbell too,
idiotic.
but some people are going to say some things about
Yeah,
how he does things,
I
But
mean, some
that's
of
what
his risks were a
happens
little
regardless,
idiotic, but
huh?
other than some of it a little questionable. But in that same category, I mean, chip on his shoulder. What did he say? Something about biting kneecaps when he first started coaching, and
Yeah,
his
the
team picked
Google
up.
Me praise was funny. Like, he is funny. Like, Google Me, I
Yeah,
win. Like, I like his confidence, and you need confidence, obviously, in everything you
yeah,
do in life. So I'm not. It's
yeah,
just at times though, I think he's kind of brash, and at times he gets like a little bit full of himself, is what I'm saying, and he gets. I think sometimes he goes like a little bit too far, and I think
okay.
he needs to have a little bit more humility at times. I guess is what I'm saying, because I don't. He can't make excuses when they lose, and
Well, yeah, yeah. There's got to be even killed. I'm just
yeah,
saying, a coach with an attitude like that, like the guy at Indiana, the players will want to run through a wall for you, man, and
Yeah.
they
Like
want
I
to
said,
play for these coaches.
no,
And
I agree. He's a great coach. Like I said, I'm not knocking him.
yeah,
Overall, I think he's the real deal. And he, like I said,
yeah,
there's there's far more good things than bad things about him.
yeah,
But he does need to watch his attitude at times. I think he could get himself in
yeah.
a little bit of trouble with that if he's not careful. That's what I'm saying. But
I hear you.
yeah, but I like him overall. I just hope Indiana can keep it up. I hope this just wasn't one fluke year, with him. I don't think so. I think he's the real deal,
Yeah, I
but
mean, while he's there, because somebody's going to when the big school's going to.
yeah,
I'm
he's gonna
sure he'll
go
try
get
to
some
swap
recruits
players.
in there. Yeah, he should be able to
Yeah,
get some
yeah.
players.
So while he's there, yeah, hopefully they can keep it up. I don't
Hopefully
think he'll
they
be there too much
can.
longer.
I
Yeah,
don't think you get to a college football playoff every year, but if they could have a winning team every year and be ranked a lot of the times, that's really good for them. So
yeah.
yeah, but he might be able to get back to the playoffs multiple times and have better results. You never know. We'll see what the future holds for Indiana football. Um, well, there was one thing I do want to say about the Tennessee game. Even though I was very disappointed, there was someone who I wasn't disappointed with in the Tennessee game. That was their true freshman quarterback. This
Mm.
I'm a Leva kid. Like he played his heart out.
Yes,
His
he
team
did.
could do nothing offensively. Like their running back Sampson got hurt early in the game, and he was SEC like player of the year or something like that. He rushed for
Yeah,
well over 1,000 yards. So it didn't help that he got hurt in the game, but their backup wasn't bad. But this Leva kid, this quarterback, I mean, he scrambled for like a lot of first downs for a 6'6" guy. He's very elusive and he's a lot faster than people think. He's very athletic at 6'6". Like he ran for some big first downs to try to keep Tennessee in the game.
yeah.
It
I was
was
like, man,
21-10
Josh
at
Allen out
halftime.
there. Uh huh.
It looked like Tennessee almost might make it a game, because they're down 21-0 like fast, like in a blink of an eye in the first quarter. But then they scored 10 points in the second quarter and it was 21-10 at halftime. It looked like, and Tennessee got the ball first to start the second half. I was like, well, if Tennessee can score and make this one possession game, we might have a game. But they didn't do that. I mean, the wheels just completely fell off, and they got blown out 42-17. But this Leva kid, he played hard all game long. I like him,
Yes.
and he's a true freshman. Hawaiian kid. And when I talked about Hawaiian players before on this show, like they have some really good football talent in that state.
Yes.
So I don't think he grew up in Hawaii, but I know his culture, his
Yes.
his background's Hawaiian. I think he grew up somewhere in the mainland, but his
Yeah.
background is
Yeah.
Hawaiian.
Yeah. Very disciplined. They're very disciplined in all walks of life. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Put that with football.
they play some good football there, and I was there to see some of it when I was stationed. They have some big time athletes. So I saw Monty Teo play in high school; like he was a beast. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. But let's get into some of these. Get into some. Well, before we get into matchups, let's make some bold predictions. Who do you think can take it to the house for the college football playoffs? Who do you think could be champion before we make our predictions for the
Yeah.
quarterfinals?
Well, I'm going for Texas, of course. I'm not saying that's who's going to win it because I'm just worried about when they run into Georgia. For whatever reason, Georgia seems to have their number. They
Georgia's got to get
have
past Notre Dame though, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
and I think Georgia will, even though that's probably the best I've seen Notre Dame play all season. But I still think Georgia will get past them. But why are we not talking about Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon's number one team in the country. They're 13-0.
Yeah, is it because their style of play? They're more finesse, pro style offense versus these hard nosed, punch you in the mouth type SEC, Big Ten, Big 12 offenses, defenses.
Yeah,
I don't know, but man, my picks be. My head says Texas, but if I were to pick a winner, it's up in the air between Georgia and Oregon. And between those two, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to watch and see next.
yeah. Um, I agree with those two picks. I don't think Georgia can do it. I think
Nope.
Oregon can. I mean, Georgia's backup quarterback did play well, and their starter went out because he hurt his elbow and he just got surgery, so he's out, but he's declaring for the NFL draft. I read that today. So Carson Beck is declaring for the NFL draft, and
Yeah.
likely so. It's just time to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the backup quarterback did play well when he came out, in the second half, and he actually got put in before even Beck got hurt, I think, because
Mm-hmm.
Beck was struggling. I think he got put in the game because of it, but something like that. But anyways, but he's good, but I don't think he can get them to a national championship. He might be able to get past Notre Dame, like you said. That's gonna probably be a really good game. I think it's gonna be a very defensive game. I think that's gonna be a low
Yeah.
scoring game. Because both teams got good defenses.
Yes.
But I don't think he can get him. I don't think the backup quarterback can get him to the national championship. He might be able to get him to a semifinal or something, but I don't think he can get him to a national championship. Obviously, I don't think Penn State can do it because
Yeah.
when they blew out SMU, I like their chances against Boise State because Boise State's kind of a wild
Yeah.
card. I mean, it all depends on how well Ashton Jeanty plays for Boise State to even be in the game.
He'll need 300 yards for that one. Win
Yeah,
that game.
yeah. Penn State's got a really good defense, though. If Ashton
Yes.
Jeanty gets shut out, Boise
Yeah.
State's in a lot of trouble. It depends how well Ashton Jeanty goes.
Yeah.
The team's gonna go where Ashton Jeanty goes.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that. I mean,
Yeah, that's a no-brainer, right? Because they have no
eight
one
man
else.
front. Yeah. Let anybody beat us but him. I mean, we know
Yeah.
that.
The problem with Boise State is they got no one else. Even though Boise State's in the playoffs for the first time ever, and they have so it's kind of weird, Other Boise State teams have been more well-rounded, though. Even though they didn't make
Yes.
the playoffs, I feel like they had a lot. They had a lot more than just running. They had good quarterback. They had good receivers. They had a good defense. Right now, yes, Boise State's in the playoffs, but they only have Ashton Jeanty. Everyone else
Yeah.
on their team is very average. Um, their quarterback is very average. I don't know who they got at receiver.
Yeah.
Like I just know about Ashton Jeanty, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. If he gets shut out, they're done. But if he runs well, then they'll have a chance. As much as I hate Ohio State and Ryan Day, they can't beat Michigan, but they looked really good against
Yes,
Tennessee.
they
And,
did. That's the best I've seen them play all season. I
that's
don't
the
like
best
Ohio
they
State
played all
game.
year. They have a chance if they can
That
get
was
past
scary.
Oregon. I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
that's the biggest matchup because their game early in the year was the nail biter game, 32-31. Everyone's looking forward to the rematch of
Yeah.
that game. If Ohio State can get past Oregon, look out. Look
Well,
out. I'm almost picking Ohio State. I think it's between Ohio State and Oregon, honestly. I think whoever
well,
wins that game is going to go all the way.
that's the scariest matchup for Oregon, even though I did pick Oregon, but Ohio State, they're physical. They'll hit you. They'll punch you in the mouth, and you're going to come out of that game hurting.
They're much improved on defense.
Yes.
They used to be horrible on defense. They've always had a great offense, but their defense is always not very good. But the last couple of years, their defense has really improved. And that's what's
Yeah.
made them better.
Yes.
But they are still loaded on the offensive end. They always have good running backs that go to the NFL. They always have good wide receivers that go to the NFL. They have good quarterback play. The question is on their quarterback. That is the one thing is how well will he play in big games. I think his name's Howard. I know he transferred from Kansas State. You know, if he
I don't
plays
remember his name
well,
either.
huh?
Yeah, I don't remember his name either, but I know
I
who
think
you're
his
talking
last
about.
name's Howard,
Yeah.
but I know his name's on tip of my tongue. But anyways, he's the old K State quarterback. He's very good, very talented, but he has the Achilles heel on him is he's made a couple boneheaded plays in the year, and that's what people think about. He's made far more good plays than bad plays, but we all know
Yeah.
people think about the boneheaded plays. Against Oregon early in the year, he slid like a second or two too late, and they ran out of time in the game. And
Yes.
they're almost like in field goal range for it was a long kick. There's no guarantee he would have made it, but it was like around 48, 49 yards. So it wasn't gonna be an
Yes.
easy kick, but he left no time on the clock. Will Howard, I think that's his name. Will Howard. Um,
So,
so and then in the Michigan game, he threw a couple picks. They dominate. Even though they dominated that game stat wise, Michigan won the game because he threw a bad pick at a bad time when it looked like about to score a touchdown. Michigan intercepts the ball. So you know, so those are two games he wish he had back, especially the Michigan game. I think in the kind of like what our good friend Jack said in the Oregon game, like when we all could talk trash and kind of like analyze why he slid a second late. But when there's like 6 or 7 seconds, when there's 6 or 7 seconds left on the clock, and you're trying to make a play and you're scrambling for your life, that can happen to anybody. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and that's what Jack was talking about. Like that could have
Yeah,
happened to anybody when there's 80,000 people screaming at you.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's tough.
he slid a second too late. If he was slid a second earlier, they would have been okay. But yeah,
Yeah,
he just let the clock go in his head for an extra second, and it cost him. But the Achilles heel was Michigan, that is obviously very recent. So yeah, so we'll see how Will Howard plays will determine a lot too. So, but if he plays like the way he did against Tennessee, and most of the game against Oregon, I think in the Oregon game earlier this year, he only had like 5 or 6 incompletions. He was like 22 out of 28 for like almost 300 yards.
yeah, yeah. He's
Like
pretty
I said,
accurate.
but people remember the last play of the game, but people forget how well he played until the
Yes.
last play of the game. That's just what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. Um, I think it's between Oregon and Ohio State, but Texas is good, but they just look like they fall asleep sometimes, and they definitely have a problem against Georgia, like you said. So
They picked the most inopportune time to play their worst. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, especially that Georgia game. I mean,
I would love to see Texas do it, like you said. I would love
yeah,
to see them do it, but
yeah. I
don't
just don't trust them.
I don't
I don't
trust them
trust.
exactly. I don't
Yeah,
trust them.
but I
So
watch it for them, but that's not who I'm picking to win. I mean, I'm hoping they win, but I'm still up in the air between Oregon and Georgia.
I like your choices. I think one of my teams is Oregon. I think it's between Oregon and Ohio State. I hate Ohio State, but at the same time, I would like to see a big, traditional Big Ten team. Yes, Oregon's
Yeah,
Big Ten, their first year in Big Ten, but I want to see like a
yeah.
traditional Big
I
Ten
still can't get
team.
my head around that Oregon being in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I definitely don't think Penn State can do it. Franklin is horrible against winning teams
Yeah,
that are ranked, but he did obviously blow out SMU, so credit him and his team for that. And I like their chances against Boise State. So that might save his job if he gets to if Penn State gets to the semifinals and they beat two ranked teams in a row. Then I think Franklin's job is secure. But if he loses, I think he's out because
yeah.
his record against winning teams is like I think he only has like 3 wins and like 20 plus losses against ranked teams. It's pretty bad, and he can never get past Michigan and Ohio State. So I don't know the exact record, but it's pretty. It's pretty. I'm telling you, it's down. It's not like even close to 500. If it was like around 500, I'd be like, okay, you win some, lose some. But
Mhm.
it's like he's losing like 85% of the time against good teams, so it's not good. So, but anyways, let's do matchups real quick, and then we'll get to the NFL. We talked a bit longer than I thought we would about college, but hey, it's college football playoffs, first time ever.
Good
So
topics, especially with this playoff format.
yeah, Oregon, Ohio State. Who you got? New Year's Day
Look at
game.
Ohio
Actually,
State.
let me start with the. I'm sorry. Let me start with the New Year's Eve game. ASU and Texas. Let me start with that. I'm sorry.
I got Texas winning that game by 2 scores.
So
That
do I.
might be the mismatch of the all the
Yeah,
matchups.
yeah. Credit ASU for having a lights out season. They got hot. They won like
Yeah,
I don't know how many games in a row. They're just okay in the first half of the season, but then they went on this crazy winning streak, and
yeah.
they have a very good running back that's underrated. Can't remember his
Oh yes.
name, but their running back runs hard. Yeah, so he's a standout player for ASU, but I think Texas has got this game, too. So yeah, that probably will be the worst matchup, or maybe the Penn State Boise State. We'll see how Boise State does. But next game, Georgia Notre Dame. Who you got? I think you said Georgia earlier.
Yeah. Oh, boy. People in Vegas have this close. Georgia by a point and a half, and man, yeah, I agree. Uh, Georgia by a touchdown, and part of that's in my head. I don't really like Notre Dame that much, and I do like Georgia. So, but no, I'm picking Georgia to win that game.
I'm with you. Well, I'm not with you completely. I agree. I'm not crazy about either team. That's how I'm with you. But I'll make Dwayne happy. Obviously, Georgia is favored, even with
No,
the backup
I do like
quarterback.
Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia is favored, look by a slight margin, even with their backup quarterback, because the kind of players they have, like they're dominant, they're very physical. If their running back can get going, they're in a lot of trouble. Um, Notre Dame's in a lot of trouble, but I'm gonna pull an upset here. I like Notre Dame's head coach.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's
I like him. I hope he gets him ready to play. I think he's their quarterback had problems early in the season, but like some of the commentators are saying, like he's done a really good job of adjusting to his quarterback's strengths, and his quarterback has played lights out the past 7 or 8 games. I think he's one of the very few players in NCAA history to have more than 15 rushing touchdowns and more than 15 passing touchdowns in one season. So he can run and throw. So their quarterback is playing better. They have very good running backs also. Notre Dame's defense is pretty good. It just depends if they can stop Georgia's running game. If they can force that backup Georgia quarterback into some turnovers, I think Notre Dame has a really good shot at pulling off the upset. So I'm going Notre Dame, but it's gonna be close.
okay.
I won't be surprised if Georgia wins though. But I would like to see Notre Dame win. I'm not a big Kirby Smart fan. There's something about him that he's kind of smug too. Like
No,
I don't like him very much. I don't like
yeah.
Kirby Smart.
This is almost a pick. I'm just point and a half favorite. So yeah, it isn't anybody's game here.
Yeah, I know Kirby Smart's under the Nick Saban coaching tree, and obviously Nick Saban's arguably the best coach ever in college football. But I'm not. There's something about Kirby Smart that just rubs me the wrong way.
Okay.
So I like Notre Dame's coach's personality a lot better than him. So I'm going Notre Dame. Um, Oregon, Ohio State.
Ooh, boy. Ooh, let's go Oregon. They played Rose Bowl. Close to a home
That's the
game,
Rose
right?
Bowl game. I forgot to mention the bowl games these teams are in. You're
Yeah.
right. That's the Rose Bowl game.
So it's going to be full of Oregon fans. I know Ohio State fans are going to travel. Might be 50-50, but yeah. Yeah.
This is like the old Rose Bowl, Big Ten versus Pac-12. Yeah. But the difference is there's playoff implications on the line. I do like this matchup.
If I'm reading this line correctly, they have Ohio State favored by 2.5. Not surprising. Not
No, it could
surprising.
go either. It could go either way. Yeah, it can
But
totally go either
my
way.
my pick there, I'm going to go with Oregon.
Uh, yeah, it's hard to go against the number one team in the country. I'm telling you, man, Ohio State wants some revenge though too. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
stand by what I said earlier. Whoever wins this game, I think they're the favorites to win the
The
national
championship.
championship.
All
I'm
right.
going to go Ohio State. I hate Ryan Day,
Yeah.
but
He was about to get fired last week if he wouldn't have won
yeah,
that game.
I'm not a Ryan Day fan. Not just because Michigan. Obviously, that's one big reason, but there's other reasons. You know,
Yeah.
there's some coaches I really like, and some coaches I just don't like, and he's one of those guys that I just don't like. Um,
Yeah.
so I got no problem with Oregon's coach. He's pretty solid. Um, but Ohio State has really good players, man, and I like Ohio State's players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't like their team, obviously, being a Michigan fan, but they always have good talent, and I can see
Yeah.
them winning. Whoever wins this game, I think, is the front runner for the national championship. I'll pull off Ohio State, another close one. Hopefully, this Will Howard doesn't make another boneheaded mistake at the end of the game.
Okay.
So, but like I said again, I won't be surprised if Oregon wins, but I'll go Ohio State because I think they want revenge, and even though Ohio State lost to Michigan, they still have a chance to play for a national championship. They're not out, so
Okay.
I think that's kind of remotivated them in a way after that loss to Michigan. So, yeah, that was the best game of the year against Tennessee. They just crushed them, man. Um, yeah, another bowl games like the Notre Dame Georgia game is the Sugar Bowl. The ASU Texas game is the Peach Bowl in Georgia. I know Sugar Bowl's in Georgia. Is the Peach Bowl in Georgia too? Is that in Florida?
No, the Sugar Bowl's in New Orleans.
Sugar Bowl's in New Orleans. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, the last game, Fiesta Bowl, Boise State, Penn State. We were already kind of talking about that. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Gentry he'll get he's been getting 200-yard games, but he'll need 300 to beat Penn State. They'll need him pretty much the whole game. So yeah, I don't see Penn State having too much of a problem with Boise. Boise's been known to be a giant killer every now and then during the
They
playoffs,
have
but
been in the past, but I almost don't think they're the
yeah,
same team. Like I said before, they've been more
yeah,
even. They've been more balanced in
yeah,
years.
they've had better overall teams.
Yeah,
But I just don't see it here. I can't stand Penn State, but just reality, I don't see Boise State beating them.
right. I agree with you on that. That's one game we agree on. Penn State is lucky in some ways with who they draw in their first couple of games,
Yeah,
but but they can't help that. That's
no,
just the
no.
way it's stacked up. But they do have, I guess, in a way, you can say they have the easier games in the first couple of rounds compared to the other teams.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like I said before, if Franklin wins this game, his coaching job is secure. If he loses, I think he's out.
Mm-hmm.
So but if he gets back-to-back wins against ranked teams in the college football playoffs, gets in the semifinal, it'll be hard to fire him. So, but I think Penn State might win big. This could be a 2 or 3 score game. It might be like a 35-14 kind of game.
Yeah.
I know Penn State has advantage at quarterback. Allen's better than that Boise State
Uh,
quarterback is. Allen isn't lights out, but he's decent.
yes.
He's a little bit inconsistent at times, but he's improved this year compared to last year. He's made a step in the right direction. He's grown a little bit from last year to this year. Um, Penn State has, like I said, top notch defense. Their
Mm-hmm.
offense isn't great. They're average, but they're kind of like the Michigan of last year. Where they scored just enough points to win games. They got just enough offense to win games with a really good defense. So yeah, I like Penn State big in this game. Let's get
Yes.
it. Um, and then the semifinals for college the playoffs will be January 9th and 10th and in the Orange and Cotton Bowl. Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl will be the semifinals on 9th and 10th, and then the college football championship is on 20th January. Can't remember where they're playing it at, but I know it's on the 20th of January. So that's college football. Let's get into some NFL finally. We dragged on with college for a while, but like I said, a lot to talk about with college. Before we get into some NFL games, let's talk about what we were talking about in our pregame, the NFL and NBA on Christmas, and share our thoughts about NBA and NFL just in general, and some in NBA ratings and so on. So
Um,
forth, man. What do you got to say on that, brother?
the NFL is saying we don't care if it's Thursday night. We don't care if it's Friday to interrupt your high school games. We don't care if it's Saturday. We don't care if it's Christmas. We're the NFL. We're the big bad boys on the block, and we're coming after you. That's what they're doing. Rightfully so. I mean, here in the States, that's what we like. And I don't know what the NBA can do about that. I've always thought that, and I understand that the NBA players, they want their summers free. And if they do this, their summers won't be free. I've always thought that the NBA season should begin Christmas Day, should begin that day, opening day. That might help it a little bit. Um, Another part of it, and we talked about the ratings of the NBA going down.
Yeah,
Uh, Part of it is because we got everybody shooting threes. We wanted high scoring, that's what we got, but not everybody can be Steph Curry. Uh,
exactly. That was one thing that I was gonna say. Yeah,
yeah, we don't have outside of Draymond Green, we don't have an NBA full of enforcers. We don't have a Charles Oakley, Bill Laimbeer, uh, Charles Barkley's. We don't have those. They're all buddies. They're all friends, and we don't see that part where these guys just hate each other. So I think that's part of it of why the ratings of the NBA is going down a little bit. But with that, it's not going to compete with the NFL. I mean, it's tough. But yeah, it's the NFL is trying to take over everywhere. They're on
yeah.
dog on Netflix for crying out loud.
They're playing in
Netflix.
multiple countries too. They've always been playing in
Yes.
London for the past several years, but now they've even gone to Germany and
Yeah.
Mexico. So they're playing in
So
Germany, Mexico now. London's always been a thing for a while, but they're
yeah,
expanding.
I think for the NBA ratings to go up, we might want to see it go back to that style what we saw in the
And
80s, 90s.
I agree. I was just
Uh,
gonna say that. Yep.
maybe another part of it is we don't have. When's the last American to win NBA MVP? Who was the last one? I don't remember.
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't.
know either.
Folks, you guys watch it. If you can remember, help me out on that one. That could be part of it. I don't know. I don't care about that really. I mean, and all these guys that's won it deserved it. Joker's the best player in the NBA. So
Maybe
yeah,
Kobe
that's
Bryant. I don't know.
yeah. So I don't. It's a lot of things of why the NBA's ratings have gone down.
Yeah,
It,
they've been going down, but this year it's really taken a plummet. But they've been
yeah.
going down for the past several years. I think the big reason is you said one reason is they shoot too many damn threes. Uh,
Yes.
I mentioned that a lot all NBA season last year when we were doing our shows for the NBA playoffs. The Boston Celtics drive me crazy. Yes,
Yes.
they won an NBA championship, but they shoot over 50 threes a game. It's just too much. It drives me absolutely insane. And I'll say this again: I don't mind a good 3-point shot. I think every team needs to have a couple of good 3-point shooters. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong, but there's a difference between shooting 53s a game and maybe shooting like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
If they go down to like 25 to 30 3-point shots a game, I think the NBA game will be much more likable and people will watch it again.
More,
Uh,
much more watchable. It's unwatchable right now.
it's unwatchable right now. They shoot too many bad threes, and
Yeah.
and you made a point like, yeah, not everyone's Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Yes, Steph Curry and Klay are the ones who started this, but that's because they were able to do it.
Yes.
Not everyone can be the Splash Brothers. They were able to do it, and they had a lot of success because of it. But not everyone is them.
Yeah.
They're two very special players that played together and had a good run together and won 4 championships together. I mean,
Yeah.
um, but here's the thing. Even as many threes that Clay and Steph shot, they still get a lot of 2-point shots. Like how many times does
Yes.
Steph Curry drive the lane and get an easy layup? He's
Yes.
got great ball handling skills. Clay Thompson, with his height, could always get open for mid-range jumpers, shoot over
Mhm.
a smaller defender.
Yeah.
Clay got his fair share of 2-pointers. Even though they both shot a lot of threes, they also shot a lot of twos. So they just didn't
Yeah.
always settle for 3-point shots. I think a lot of teams settle for 3-point shots. The NBA is getting better at calling traveling. That was one thing that everyone's
Hmm.
been complaining about. This year, I saw a game for the first time a couple of days ago on Christmas, and in one game, I saw traveling called like 4 or 5 times. So I was happy. I was like, good, they're
Yeah.
calling it. So I think NBA is trying to make a mark on that. Like, hey, we've been pretty horrible for the past decade on that. A lot of people talk about that, where it's very blatant, obvious traveling. There's this one shot they do. I swear to God, it's a freaking traveling. It's like where they hop step back to the 3-point line, like both their feet come off the ground. To me, that's freaking traveling because you lost your pivot foot, but they don't call traveling on that crap.
You know, I it's funny. I just saw a breakdown on that today. I forgot who was doing it, and uh, you're a ref. You played ball. The explanation that I heard, and I disagree with, it, is when you're dribbling, you could take more than 2 steps while you're dribbling.
You can't take more
That's
than 2 steps in
that's not
dribbling.
correct, and that was their justification for that move. And I was like, no, that's not right. That
A
doesn't make
step
sense.
back, that's not right. A step back
Yeah.
is not traveling because if you go forward 1 foot, then come back for a step back, and you maintain your
Yes.
pivot foot, that's not traveling because your pivot foot's on the ground. You establish
Exactly.
the pivot foot. You
Hmm.
know, that's a good move. I like the
Yeah.
step back. That's a good move that they come up with in the past decade or so, like step backs. I like that move. I've even used it myself a couple of times back in the day. But you know, obviously I'm not no Steph Curry or anything, but I had a couple of step backs and I got the height to shoot people. So yeah, I make them think I'm
Yeah.
going in and I come back and then I shoot, but that whole jump step thing, I think it's completely freaking
Yeah.
traveling, man. So yeah.
Yeah.
To me, the letter of the law and the rule book, that's traveling. If you
Mhm.
lose your pivot foot, that's traveling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It should be. I mean, yes.
um, like I said, the NBA is getting better. Like I said, I saw them call it like 4 or 5 times in one of the Christmas Day games. All the Christmas Day games were good except for one. I'll give the NBA that.
Yeah.
I think the NBA had they opened up with a very good game with the New York Knicks, and
Hmm.
I can't remember who they were playing, but that was a good game. New York Knicks won, but that was a close game. The Philadelphia 76ers upset somebody, Boston, I believe. The only game that kind of sucked was the Dallas Mavericks game. They didn't, Luka Doncic got hurt and
Hmm.
they made a comeback, but they're mostly getting blown out that game. That was the only game that really sucked. LA, the Lakers, Golden State
That was
Warriors
a good
game was
game.
a great freaking game,
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
down to the
That's that.
very end.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves blew by the defender. I couldn't believe that. I didn't think he
Yeah.
was going to do that.
Wow. Awesome. Okay.
I think he didn't
Well,
expect it. That was for sure
yeah.
because I don't think Austin Reeves is overly fast. He's not slow, but
No, he's
he's
not.
overly fast, and I just did. He got caught off guard. So yeah, he Raptor looked like Steph Curry tied the game to go into overtime. Austin Reeves gets the buzzer beater man on a layup. So that was a great game though.
Yeah.
But yeah, NBA is going down. I think they got to change their style of play. They got to use the big men more, like back in old school days,
Yeah.
and they got to
I
have some
think. Yeah.
enforcers. They have some enforcers, like you said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think if we go back to that, if and it eventually will, maybe we might see a difference, but as long as it's at the same time as the NFL, it's not going to compete with that. It's just nothing. There's nothing they can do about that.
no,
Maybe look at this. Maybe try to schedule different. But they want to play Christmas. Some people don't see their basketball Christmas, but if there's a football game on, people are going to want to watch football. I mean,
yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, it's tough.
Let's take a step back before we get into NFL picks. I forgot to talk about it. And I know we talked about college football a lot, but we forgot to mention the transfer portal.
Oh yes,
We were talking about that pregame. I knew I was forgetting something because we got really big into all the picks about the quarterfinals, and I forgot. I watched the game last night, Wazoo and Syracuse. I mean, Syracuse was favored to win regardless, and Syracuse has had a very good year, the first 10-win season in quite some time with their first year head coach. Um, um, Syracuse has a very good quarterback. He used to play at Ohio State, and they got rid of him for some crazy reason. He had a lights out year with Syracuse. I think he just broke the Syracuse like passing record this year. So
dang.
yeah, but here's the thing: Wazoo's head coach left to take the Wake Forest job, which makes no sense. I don't see how Wake Forest is better than Wazoo. I know
Yeah, I mean,
Wazoo is kind of small market, I guess in a way, but Wake Forest isn't known for football. I
no.
mean, I don't know why he left. Unless that's his alma mater or he's from there. I have no idea, but that makes no sense why he left. And since he left to take the Wake Forest job, Wazoo's kind of been in disarray. They lost their last 3 games of the year. They were 8-1 at one point in ranked, and they finished 8-4. Now 8-5 because they lost the bowl game. But here's the reason why they lost the bowl game. They had 30 players in transfer portal. That's my point. And from what I heard in this game yesterday, don't quote me. We're talking about this in pregame. If you're in a transfer portal, you're not allowed to play in your team's bowl game, even though you played for them all year long. And
Hmm.
that hurt Wazoo. Um,
Ah, I don't
um,
like that.
and the commentators are talking about that, like adjusting the schedule when the transfer portal happens, so these players can play in their bowl games. And we
Hmm.
all know some players are sitting out, which I don't like, but I understand why because they don't want to. If they're going into the NFL draft, they don't want to take chances of injury. I don't like it, but I understand it. I think you should always play for your team. If there's a game and you're healthy, I think you should play, man. That's just me. If
Yeah,
because your team is the reason why you're going to get drafted into the NFL. Your coaches, your teammates, your parents, everyone along the way. But at the same time, I understand, you don't want an injury where you can't play ever again and you don't get the money. So, but what's the chances of you getting hurt so bad that you can't play ever again? I don't know, but I get it, but that's just highly unlikely to me. But transfer portal, what do you think, man? I mean, I think kids transfer way too much. I'm not completely against it, but I feel like you should only be able to transfer once in your college career, not transfer like 2, 3, 4 times like some of these guys are doing, completely messing up college sports, especially football.
well, I'm hoping that the NCAA takes a look at this situation with Washington State and maybe tweak that rule a little bit because 30 players that's insane.
That's half the team.
Yeah.
I
So
know in
if
the
they
NFL
could,
they suit up 53. Obviously, college is
yeah,
allowed to have a lot more than that. I think they have like around 80 something, but that's still a big chunk of. That's almost half of your players, man.
yeah, then if they don't do anything, it's just going to create a snowball effect where maybe Washington University might have something similar next year, or you know, God forbid, one of the bigger teams that are in the playoffs. I mean, sheesh, we definitely don't want that. So, yeah, I don't like it either. I'm with you on that. They should, as many times as it's allowed, they should bring that number down a little bit. I'm good with just once. And unless you're holding out to not to keep your stock for the NFL, you should play in your bowl game or at least suit out.
Yeah, I like I said, I understand why they don't play because they don't want to risk injury. I get it, but
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
I just
I
don't
get that.
like it. I feel like if you're on a team, you should play if you're healthy, unless you have
Yes,
unless you have a health issue, you know.
yes,
Um,
I agree.
yeah, you just don't let your team down like that.
No,
I have nothing against transfer portal as a whole, but like I said a minute ago, I'm a big believer you could do it once, maybe twice. I'm more about
yeah,
once, maybe twice on maybe certain situations, unique situations, but I'm a like once guy because I'm not against it. Because yes, even back in our day, like especially in basketball, like Larry Johnson, grandmama, he transferred from some Texas junior college to go to
yes,
UNLV, and look at him, and other players did that, and
yes,
that part I'm okay with because you start off small and you work your way up.
yeah,
I'm okay. I am. That's the part of the transfer portal I'm completely
yeah,
okay with,
yeah.
and
Cam Newton did it.
that's
Yeah,
a good thing. That's a good thing, you
yeah,
know. But like I said, transferring more than once, like you don't
yeah,
like something and you're just there for 1 year, then you transfer again. Like I'm okay with it one time because maybe the grass is green on the side. Like maybe someone takes your position and you think you have a better chance somewhere else, or maybe you just don't fit. I mean, sometimes it's not in the right system. How many
yeah,
times have we seen a player struggle in one system because it's not the system for them, but then they go to a different team and they're like lights
yes,
out. So
yeah,
I'm okay for it for that reason too. Like if you're in the wrong system for your abilities, I'm okay with it for that. But those are the things I'm okay with the transfer portal for, but
yeah.
not two, three, four times. I think 6, 7 years seniors is completely ridiculous.
That's insane, man.
I'm
They
okay
shouldn't
with
allow that.
I'm okay with 5th year players, like
Yes,
graduate transfers. That's been a thing since even we were in high school,
yeah,
college. So I'm okay with a one extra year or a redshirt year. I'm okay with those kind of things,
yeah,
but not 6 or 7 years. You should not be. Only way you should be 25 years old playing in college if you start college late.
yeah,
Like some
yeah,
guys were in the military like me for a couple of years. Well, I did a whole career, but some guys did a couple of years in the military, then they went back to college and they are a walk on for these teams and they're old freshmen. Like I'm okay with that because that's a total different story because they serve their
yes,
country. You know,
yes,
that's totally different being a 21-year-old
yeah.
freshman, or
Or
22-year-old freshman because you served your country for a couple of years.
or the guys at BYU that go on the mission for 2 years and come back and
Yeah,
play. I get that.
exactly. That's another
Yeah,
good. Exactly. They
yeah,
have religious stuff. Exactly. So I'm
yeah,
okay with it for those reasons, man.
yes,
But other than that, they gotta fix this transfer portal thing. And I agree with what the commentator said last night. They could do it a couple times a year. One time is in December during bowl season, which is bad, horrible timing. And I think they said if I heard them correctly, they said the other time is April. So I think December and April, like these transfer portal windows are open. I think they just need to move it to April because both basketball and football seasons are both done. March Madness is done. You know, everything's done, and those are the two big money makers for college sports is basketball and
yeah,
football. So I think April is a good time. Not that those
yes.
sports don't matter, but they're just not as people don't watch them as much. They're not on TV as much, and it's not going to hurt them. So, but it's going to hurt the two moneymakers of college, the football and basketball.
Mhm.
So, but now let's finally get on to NFL. Now we're back on track, brother.
Right.
I had to mention the transfer portals. That was a curveball, people. So the Christmas Day game sucked.
Yeah, they did.
Especially the Ravens and Texans game was absolutely horrible. 30 to
Uh,
2 or 31 to 2. That was
wow.
disgusting. I didn't see the Steelers Chiefs game. That was a good game for a while. I think the final score was 29-10 Chiefs. They finally didn't win a one-score game. They finally had a, but that it was a good game for a while, but they pulled away in the fourth quarter. But the Ravens Texans, I thought the Ravens would win, but I didn't think it'd be that bad.
Oh,
It's just
man,
like
what? No,
Houston.
yeah. Come on, Houston. What was that? I don't get it.
I love CJ Stroud, but I don't know what's
Hey,
going on with him. And he's been struggling the second half of the season. He's been very up and down. But I like him overall as a whole. I
yeah,
think he's going to still have a good NFL career, but he started off the season so hot in his second year, his sophomore year in the NFL. Then like the last like 4 or 5 games, he's just really he's been hitting the wall, man. Don't know what's going on. I'm rooting for him because I like him, but he is not the same player he was in the first 6 or 7 games of this year. So
wow.
what do you think about the Chiefs? And do you think the Chiefs get calls from the refs or not? That's a big talk. I haven't seen a full
Uh,
game to know. I
you
don't.
know,
I don't know. Everyone talks
this
about
this this seems familiar. There was this guy named for New England, this quarterback,
it. Yeah,
this
Tom
coach.
Brady.
Uh, didn't we hear the same thing when they
Yep.
started winning? There were some times they were cheat. Well, they got punished for cheating, but that they got calls, they got favored, and you like them at first till they start winning. You get tired of them. We're starting to see the same thing here with the Chiefs.
I agree.
No,
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
yeah, no, no. And what's scary about the Chiefs is everybody's healthy. Hollywood Brown's back. I think Checo's back, or if I'm not
That's what I told
mistaken.
my brother-in-law Chris. Is like they may not be winning by a lot, but they're not like firing on all cylinders. But they've got a
Yeah,
lot of experience. They're like an old NBA like San Antonio
yeah,
Spurs team that has a lot of. They may not be as good as they were 2 or 3 years ago, but they got so much playoff
yeah,
experience. They are very dangerous in the
yeah.
playoff.
So
They got
no,
Patrick
no, we're just
Mahomes.
yeah, we're. I think we're just tired of seeing them because they're winning. Um,
I haven't seen their games and know to know
yeah,
one way or the other. I've only watched maybe 1 or 2 of their games this
yeah.
year, so I don't know.
But I think that's what it is. No, I don't think the refs are helping them out. I
I
mean,
don't think so either. I'm not just saying it because I'm official. I don't
yeah,
think so. I
yeah,
don't think so. I think some calls are just 50-50, and they've had some calls go their way. Uh,
yeah,
you know, um, and to your point, Patrick Holmes might get more calls just like Tom Brady did, just like Michael Jordan did in the freaking
yeah,
NBA, just like LeBron James
yeah,
gets,
yeah.
uh,
I mean, they adjusted the quarterback rule. You can't touch him because of Brady. So I mean, you can't do nothing.
yeah,
But
there were times where I could see why Ray Lewis was pissed off playing against Brady
yeah,
because, yeah, that could be just make you
so,
freaking mad and want to kill him.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And I'm not a even though Tom Brady played at University of Michigan, I've never really been I don't like New England, so I've never really been a
Mhm.
big fan of his in the NFL. But obviously, he's a great quarterback,
Yeah,
won 7 Super Bowls, which is freaking ridiculous.
yeah. But
And,
yeah, we've seen this before, and that's what it is. I mean, this is a dynasty in the making. If they're not a dynasty already, and yeah, it's what it is. I mean, that's no, they're not getting any help.
yeah. But let's, okay, the Thursday night game sucked too. I forgot I was even on
Ugh,
because I'm on
six
a,
to three.
I'm on curtailment for the government. So I've been off for like
Mm.
a freaking almost a week. I'm going back to January 2nd, and I forgot what day of the week it is because Christmas just threw me off, and I didn't even realize that it was Thursday night football. I didn't even watch the game. I saw the score the next day on Friday, like 6-3. That's a
I was like, what are the Mariners and Cubs doing playing each other? I mean, baseball stuff.
yeah, that's what it looked
Jeez.
like.
Oh God, man,
I
but
think it was 6-3 at halftime too. No one scored any points in the second half.
man,
So,
just some bad football right now. I mean, I don't know what that was. I mean,
but the Seahawks still have a chance to make the playoffs. If they make
yeah,
it, I don't think they'll
crazy.
get very far. But
Yeah,
that win obviously helped them out. But they're still not completely
yeah.
in. They need the Rams to lose.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I
but
don't know what that was.
I think the Rams get in though. I trust the Rams more than the Seahawks. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Cup, the other receiver who's really emerging under Cooper Cup. That guy's
Cool. Yeah, the cool.
the coup is a freaking
Look at
beast.
the
I
cool.
love that
Yeah,
kid, man. That guy, I love that. He's one of my favorite new players, man.
yeah, yeah. I like him.
I wish he was playing for our Cowboys, man. But
Oh, they can use him.
I like that guy. I like that guy, man. I really like him. And I like Matthew Stafford. I like his story. So I trust the Rams more than I do the Seahawks. So sorry, 12s. Um, let's get into some picks. Like, what's the score of the Chargers-Pats game right now? Is that game over with? Or
Speaking of blowouts, it's the Chargers 37-7 right now.
okay, so we know
It,
who's going to win that game.
yeah, it's not
Okay,
very good football right now.
there's a couple more Saturday games being played. The Iowa
Yeah,
State Miami game for college football just started in their bowl game. I'm liking this game, but we'll talk about that later offline. But the other Saturday games for the NFL, Broncos at Bengals. Who do you got?
mm.
I think they start right after the Pats game, right?
Ooh, the Bengals are fighting for their playoff lives.
They still got a chance. Joe Cool's been Joe Cool all year long, but they still got a slim margin. They have to win out. Obviously, they're
Yeah,
7-8. They have to win out and get to 9-8.
yeah. Then you have maybe the surprise team of the year, the Broncos, playing a lot better than I
Yes,
expected.
Bo Nix has really
Oof.
surprised a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
Besides
man.
Jaden Daniels, he's probably been the best rookie besides Jaden Daniels.
You know, uh, I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
I like the
Go with the
Bengals
Bengals.
too. The Broncos might lose two in a row. They lost a nail biter last week in a very good game. Can't remember who they're playing, but they played. Can't remember who they played last week. That was a very good game. They lost in a good one.
Yeah,
Um, I'm losing my train of thought. Can't remember who it was, but Broncos might drop two in a row. Bo Nix has played lights out this year, so I'm really happy for them. But they might lose. I'm going for the Bengals too. They're at home.
yeah,
Joe Burrow's obviously got more experience than Bo Nix being a rookie, but Bo Nix
yes,
has really showed out his rookie year. He's turned a lot of heads, so good for him for that.
yeah,
But I got the Bengals too, man. Bengals just need to clean up their defense. Bengals offense has been lights out all years long.
yeah,
Jamar Chase and Joe Cool have been. I mean,
yeah. Oh man,
Jamar Chase has like the most TDs, I think, the most reception yards. Like
yeah.
he's done his thing.
Guys
Just
always open, man.
their defense has let them down.
Yeah,
So, but I got the Bengals too. Cardinals at Rams. I figured the Cardinals would start sputtering in the wrong direction. I talked
hmm
about with
yeah.
I said this a month ago, last show with Brandon. I said I think the Cardinals will start dropping games. I just never trust Arizona. So Cardinals and Rams. Who do you got?
Rams, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, and I don't see a change here. Yeah, I
I
have the
don't
Rams
either.
winning.
And I
Yeah,
think that's going to
yeah,
knock
they put it
the
together.
Seahawks out of the playoff. I think the Rams
Yeah,
will win this game.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It's in LA too. I trust the Rams a
yeah,
lot more than I do Arizona.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So do I.
Um, our Cowboys at the Eagles. What do you think of this game? We know we have nothing to play for, but they played hard last week against Tampa
Man,
Bay and won in a nail biter. Almost blew the game because their offense couldn't do anything in the second half, but their defense made some huge plays at the end of the game to
yeah,
seal the win. So
man, man. Outside of Diggs, the defense finally put it together, but they have nothing to play for. They shut down CD Lamb for the rest of the year, rightfully so. I mean, no
his
need to injure
shoulder's
that
really
shoulder.
bothering him. Yeah,
So I mean, yeah, get healed up and let's just run it back next year.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think Hertz is playing for the Eagles tomorrow, so I don't know. The Cowboys can play spoiler. Hey,
They
you never
could.
know what can happen. Never know what can
The
happen. I
Eagles
mean,
know they're already in the playoffs. The only thing they want to win for is obviously playoff positioning because I still think
yeah,
they'll fight for the number one seed, right?
yeah, yeah. So they got a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, on paper the Eagles should win this game, but yeah, I'm still going for Dallas.
I'll go. I'll pick with my heart and not my head. I think. I hope
Yeah,
Dallas has been a better road team. They have been a home team this year, and they're playing
yes, they
that
have.
Dallas. So hopefully that does something for them too. I
Yeah,
hope they play spoiler. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play, and that gives them a better opportunity, with the Eagles backup. Kind of,
yeah.
I don't know who the Eagles backup is.
I'm not sure either.
He came in the other day and actually played really good when Jalen Hurts had the concussion. I should know because he actually won the game for them.
Yeah,
God, who was he? Because they're showing him on this highlights. I should know. I'm losing my train of thought.
I
But
can't think of his name either.
anyway, sorry. We dabbed up on this show sometimes, people. But
Yeah.
he's not a bad backup. Panthers at Bucks. I think Bucks have bounced back. They lost a no-biter against the Cowboys, but I think they bounced back and keep their playoff
Yeah.
hope intact.
Yeah, I just got an alert that the Panthers running back Hubbard's out for the rest of the season. They have nothing to play for either. So yeah, I expect the Buccaneers to have no problems here.
I'm glad their quarterback has played better. They put him back in, the old Alabama quarterback. He's played better. They're not getting blown out like the way they were early in the season.
Right,
They've been far more competitive. I mean, they're still losing some games, but they've been way more. The
right.
Panthers have been way more competitive than what they were in the first 7 or 8 games of the year, the last month or month and a half. So,
Yes.
but I think the Bucks will win. I really like Baker Mayfield. I think his final home in Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's
He
maturing
tried
as
hard. He tried hard to win against the Cowboys, man.
yeah,
I thought they're honestly going to win the game. When Baker Mayfield got the ball back, I thought they're going
yeah.
to get field
I was
goal
worried.
to win the game.
Yeah,
We just let Blandis made a great play
yeah,
on the running back to take that ball away from him, to win the game. Thank God.
yeah.
But Baker Mayfield plays hard. I just love his tenacity, man. Um, Jets at Bills. What do you think is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? You think he's going to come back? What do you think is going to up with this guy?
I wish he would just pack it up and go home.
So do I, man. I'm getting tired of hearing about him.
Aaron, it's over. Get out of there, please. Oh man. Yeah. Oh man, Buffalo. Ooh, that Buffalo.
Is that
Not good.
Buffalo? Obviously, two New York teams going at, so there's a rivalry there.
No, Bills are gonna kill these guys, man.
I think so too. I know Brandon, you're not gonna like hearing that. Our good friend Brandon,
Sorry.
Jets fan, but
Oh yeah, sorry, Brad. I mean, none
he knows
personal.
how bad they are this year. He's been very disappointed this year
And,
when he talks about his Jets.
and I like the Jets. I'm just saying. I mean, sheesh.
Brandon's just tired of the ownership and the coaches and everything.
Yeah,
He wants them all to go.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think Bills win big too. Josh Allen's having another really good regular season like he always does. His
Oh
question
yeah,
mark is the playoffs, just like Dak Prescott.
yeah.
We'll,
Yes.
we'll see what he does in the playoffs. Um, Colts at Giants, man. The G-men have really fallen off the map. If
Oh
that coach doesn't get fired, did he already get fired? He's still
yeah.
there.
No, he's still there.
He,
No,
he
he's
doesn't
gone.
get fired
Yeah,
this year. I don't know what Giants this
yeah,
is are crazy.
yeah,
So
yeah. He's gone. Yeah, yeah. I got the Colts.
Colts will win this game. They're still in the playoff mix, I believe. They still have a fighting chance. I mean, it depends on how they finish out. I think they're 7-8 also. So they have a very small chance of squeaking in if they can win out and finish 9-8. They're in the same position last year. Um, Colts is a very up and down team. Raiders at
Yeah.
Saints, two bad teams. Um,
As much as I like Antonio Pierce, he might get fired too.
yeah, Saints are playing with their interim coach. They played a little bit better since he's been there. I think they're 3-3 since he's taken over.
Mhm.
They just have no one on offense. They got killed on Thursday Night Football against somebody.
Yeah.
Or against Minnesota. Who was it,
Just,
Minnesota or somebody? I can't remember who they played, but they had no chance because they just have no. All the receivers are hurt. They're playing on a backup quarterback.
yeah.
Their top 3 or 4 receivers are out. They got nobody.
Yeah.
The running back
Yeah.
was out. Kamara, Alvin Kamara is not playing. Like they have nobody on offense, man. Nobody.
Wow. I will go the Raiders.
Yeah, they should be able to beat the Saints if they're pleased. Let's let some guys come back for them. I'm gonna go with the Raiders for that reason too, because the Saints has got nobody in the offensive end, man. Nobody. Um, Titans at Jags, two other bad teams.
Ugh. That might be another 6-3 game.
Yeah,
Sheesh. My goodness. Terrible. Terrible.
yeah.
Oh man. I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off here and I'm gonna predict a 7-7 tie.
You think the game's gonna end the first?
That's my prediction.
The first tie of the year. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that prediction. That could happen. That could
yeah.
happen. If
That's
it
my
does,
prediction.
man, I'll be like, oh my God, Monty, I can't believe you're right. Oh my God, that could happen. That'll be funny too.
Yeah.
Uh, I won't go with the tie, but that'll be funny. I'll go with the Jags to win at home, but it'll be fun to end up in a tie. It's probably gonna be low scoring, no doubt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's funny, man. Dolphins at Browns, man. Dolphins are playing better, but I think they're out of the playoffs. But I think so. Maybe or do they still have a chance?
Oh man, the Browns are 3-12, but they have that kind of defense that could beat anybody.
Yeah, I know. I feel
Sheesh.
bad. I feel bad for Myles Garrett and company because their defense has played great all year.
And the Dolphins going to Cleveland, and the Dolphins have trouble in cold weather.
They do have trouble in cold weather. You're absolutely right.
Ooh,
They got blown out in Green Bay with the cold weather earlier this year.
ooh, man.
But
Ah, man.
can the Dolphins finally turn around and answer the critics and win a cold weather game? That's the question. They're kind of due in a way.
Boy,
But,
this should be a close one. I'm gonna pick the Browns.
uh, I'm going to pick the Dolphins just because I think they're finally due, and the Browns are just. I
Yeah.
mean, they have a really good defense, and I like the way their backup quarterback is playing. The old Florida State guy, he plays hard for
Winston.
them. I know his name, can't think of it. He's won a couple of games for
Jameis Winston is it?
Jameis Winston. He's
Yeah.
played hard,
Yeah, I like him.
but
He
they just
throws a lot
find
of interceptions, so but
but he
he's
throws
good.
interceptions, and they just
Yeah.
find weird ways to lose games.
Yeah.
So I think the Dolphins are doing this is their chance against a bad team. So I think the Dolphins will finally win a cold weather game. Um, Packers at Vikings. This is probably the best game of the week.
Ooh. I don't know why they didn't flex that to the Monday night game.
I don't know why either, man.
Man,
I don't know why they picked the
or even
Lions
the
for
Sunday
an
night game.
because on paper it looked like it's gonna be good, but 49ers just aren't the same team.
Yeah,
It'll be a good game.
boy, that's going to be good. I'm going to go with Minnesota at home.
Yeah, all the teams the Packers have lost to have been in their conference, and it's against
Yeah,
other NFC North teams. They can't beat the Vikings, and they can't beat who's the other? Oh, Detroit.
yeah.
Um, so that's where three. I think it's where three of their losses have come from. Three or four of their losses. Um, yeah, they have a hard time getting past the top competition in their conference. And the crazy thing about their conference is they could say a 14 win team may not win a 14 win team may not win their conference, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I
that's
think that'd be
weird.
the
Yeah,
first time like in NFL history that a 14 win team may not win their conference. So or division. I'm sorry, their
yeah,
division. So that's crazy. But I'm gonna pick the Vikings too. I agree with you there. It's gonna be a hell of a game though.
yeah. That'll be a very good
Um,
game.
Falcons at Commanders Sunday Night Football. Oh, we got to talk about Michael Penix getting this is going to be his second start, and they benched
Yeah,
Kirk
he played.
Cousins.
He played very well his first start. Didn't throw
Yeah,
any touchdowns, but he played very well. He managed that game. Man, he didn't look like a rookie out there.
no,
So a test is going into Washington playing this playoff bound team. Ooh, I'm picking Washington to win it, but I'm expecting Atlanta to give him a good game. I expect Penix to continue to do well.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think the Commanders are winning squeaker. Jay Downs obviously running away as the rookie of the year, but Bo Nix has
Yes,
played really well. Bo Nix has made it close, but Jaden Downs just continues to win. They had a little bit of a slump in the middle of the year where they lost like 3 out of 4, but then they've bounced back from that.
yeah,
Because I was wondering how if the Commanders can keep it up all year long, and if they did go into the slump, I thought, hey, maybe this is their time where they're going to crack. But then they're able to refigure things out and get back into winning. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I think the Commanders will win, but I think it's gonna be a very good game. This could be like an overtime or like game-winning field goal kind of game, game-winning
yeah.
drive, kind of game. Not surprised Kirk Cousins got benched. I really like Kirk Cousins. He started off so good for them, but then he just tanked in the second half of the
Yeah.
year. Kirk Cousins, man.
I,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. He's one of those that, yeah,
He's a good man, but he just can't quite get it figured out. The talent is there, but he loses too many big games. So yeah, but he's getting paid a lot of money to sit on a bench. So I'm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and one of the good things about Kirk Cousins, he has a great attitude. He's been nothing but supportive of Michael Penix. I will say that in
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins' defense, he's always done the right thing. That's why he's a good
Yes.
man, and
Yes.
he's supporting Penix and he's
Yeah.
mentoring him, and he's got a lot of
Yes.
experience. Penix can definitely learn some things from Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins with him.
Well, he played well that game. I'm sure it was from the tutelage of Cousins, just
Yeah,
watching him learning, taking his advice. He's a seasoned veteran.
yeah.
So, yeah, all that sunk in and it paid off this past game.
Kirk Cousins has lights out stats. He just loses too many big games. He's only won one playoff game in his whole entire career.
Yeah.
One win in the playoffs. I'm hoping somehow, some way, he can get a couple more before it's all said and done for him.
Oh, it would be
But
nice. I'd like to see that.
that'd be
Yeah.
nice for him to see that. But yeah, the stats are there, but just the wins aren't.
Yeah.
Um, the Lions at 49ers, Monday Night Football, like I said, I understand why they picked this game early in the season because this is a rematch of
Yes.
the NFC Championship. But
Excellent match at the time. Yes.
The 49ers just aren't the same team because they've had too many injuries and
Yes.
that's hurt them all year long. So who do you got in this game? It is in San Francisco though, so that's and
Tough. And the Lions are only favored by 3. I mean, the home team automatically gets 3 points. So, wow. It's
yeah,
closer than what wow. Uh, I still think the Lions will win big here. 10 points at least. I don't know if that's big, but 10 points.
I think the Lions will win too. I still think Dan Campbell's a meathead. Like I said several times, great guy, great coach. I have very mixed feelings about Dan Campbell because Dan Campbell is the reason why they're winning.
Yeah.
He's the heartbeat of their team. I love his aggressiveness, but at times I think he's overly aggressive. I'm glad that he's
Yeah.
aggressive, but at times I just think he's just a meathead. I think he was a meathead in the NFC Championship game. He cost his
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. He did cost them that game. You're right.
So
Yeah.
they should have
Yeah.
been in the Super. They could have been in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Yeah.
The reason why I think he's a meathead is because you just don't know if you could ever. Obviously, they're going to make the playoffs again, but the reason why I think he's a meathead is because. But can you get back to that position again to get to the
Yes.
Super Bowl? Look at the Cowboys; haven't been able to do it in almost 30 years. Seattle, Buffalo Bills,
Yes.
The Seahawks are in a slump after going their back-to-back years. Around the 2014-15 time frame with Russell Wilson. Like it's just hard to get back.
Yeah.
You know, Pittsburgh Steelers haven't been able to get back in a while. There's all kinds of teams out there. And the most notable ones obviously are Cowboys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're on the
Yeah.
big route, and the Buffalo Bills. At least the Cowboys got some Super Bowl wins. Buffalo Bills were 0-4 with poor Jim
Yeah.
Kelly and company, but you know, that's why I think Campbell's a meathead. But I think they'll win this game. I would like to see the Lions do it, but if they don't, if the Detroit Lions don't, that's what he's going to be remembered for. So he needs to be careful. But at the same time, Dan Campbell he's the reason why they turned themselves around. So it's kind of like a fine line, I guess you could say, with him. So, but he's done some good things there. But I think the Lions will win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I got that.
49ers are just looking forward to next year. Bosa's been hurt. All kinds of guys have been hurt on offense and defense.
Yeah.
So Christian McCaffrey, CMC never really got it going this year. You know, he came back for like 3 or 4 games, and then he got hurt again.
Yeah.
So
Killed my fantasy team. Sheesh.
yeah, yeah. So well, that's it for picks, folks. Let us know what you think, and let us know what you think about a lot of things. What do you think about NBA losing ratings? What do you think about we're talking about with college football, the transfer portal?
Playoff format.
What do you think about the new playoff format?
Yes.
Who do you think is going to go all the way in college football? Who do you think is going to who's
Yes.
going to win the championship? One thing I was going to mention has nothing to do with this personally about me. I mentioned it many times on the show, mentioned again, but yeah, with me being a basketball official, I'm learning a lot. But man, that game is fast. It's totally different than being a football official. Even though I play a lot more basketball than football at a competitive level in school in sports, I feel much more comfortable in football right now than I do in basketball. Maybe it's just because I've already done 3 years of football being an official compared to I'm in the middle of my first year in basketball. I'm telling you, it's a different game. Uh, Everything in basketball happens a lot quicker, much more back and forth game from offense transition from offense to defense, and things are just fast in basketball. And I'm trying to get used to that. I'm trying to get used to fans being on top of me. Yes, can you hear fans in football? Yes, because football stadiums are bigger. So yes, there's more fans that go to football games than basketball, but they're sitting farther away. Yes, you can still hear them, but
Mhm.
but in basketball they're much more closer, and that's totally different. Like you can have like a one-on-one conversation with a fan in basketball. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, different, you know. So I'm still getting used to that, but I would say, just like I always say, if you can do it, man, come out here and help us. You know, don't tell us from the cheap seats. Tell us by helping us out and becoming an official. That's how you can help us. If you think we're screwing things up, well, then help make us better. So
There you go.
that's what I say. But not making excuses for officials. We have made some boneheaded calls in our time, and there's a reason why fans say the things they do sometimes. But at the same time, you know, unless you do it, you just don't know what it's like. It's a different experience. You'll learn a lot about yourself being an official, and
Yeah.
you'll realize very quickly there's a lot to learn, and you didn't know as much as you thought you did. So, but it's fun. It keeps you in shape. You're around good people, and you can be good ambassadors and be good examples for kids in your community. Show them the right way of how to do things. You know. So that's just my take. You got anything
Yeah.
in closing, brother?
I mean, I gotta give it to you, man. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, as you know, my brother Dwayne's uncle was a basketball official for a while,
Yeah,
and
he did some of my games. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah. So it takes a lot, man. And could I do it? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it would be an eye opener to see the game, whether it's football, basketball, whatever the sport is, to see it at a different level. So I don't know, but hey, man, I gotta give you credit on that. Good job.
Yeah, I've had
That's
fun doing it. Like I said, I'm still
yeah,
getting used to basketball. I still kind of feel I feel a little bit uncomfortable in basketball still. I don't feel completely confident yet in basketball like I do in football. My confidence is still growing in
mhm.
basketball. Yeah, I just need to slow myself down because they're
Okay,
saying like my signals are really fast. Like I'm really fast because the game's going faster. That's the hard thing about basketball is like the officials are telling me to slow down, but the game is going at a much faster pace. So that's the trick of how to slow yourself down in a much more faster paced game
yes,
compared to football. Because I'm going fast. My brain is really turning right now. Like the wheels are turning. And once the game, slows down for me in basketball, like it did for football, then I'll be better. Because of course, my first year in football, the game was very fast. It was the same way where it's just really spinning, but it
yeah,
slowed down for me, and it needs to slow down for me in basketball. Once that happens, I think I'll be okay. So I don't think I've done anything that cost any team a game. Some of my calls have maybe been questionable, but I won't say I costed a team a game though, because you know what I mean. There's too many other plays that can happen throughout a game, and none of the games I've had have been overly close where I made a call where in a nail biter game, So most games I've had have been fairly one decided. So
good, good.
fairly other team was much more dominant than the other team. So um, but anyways, I'll let you get back to what you're doing, Monty. I gotta do some things. Your Miami Hurricanes are playing against Iowa State. Iowa State's up
Good.
14-7 right now early
Okay.
in the game, but that should be a good game.
Cool. Yeah, I've always liked the Hurricanes. So yeah,
Yep. All right, man. But thanks
hey,
for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for joining the show again, Monty. It's good to do this with you again. I know it's been a hot
yes,
minute. So,
yes,
all right, sports fans.
yes. Happy
We'll
New
be
Year
back.
to y'all. Well, Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to you all, everyone, and we'll be back for NFL playoffs and of course in Super Bowl and of course March Madness. How we started this show almost 2 years ago.
Yes.
All right, peace.
See y'all.